All right, everybody, welcome to Survivalism for Dummies. I'm going to give you a disclaimer right off the bat. There's a good chance there's probably going to be words that may be offensive to some audiences. Words that start with D, A, F, M, and then possibly a couple letters later, F. So if stuff like that offends you, or somebody around you, this panel might not be for you. Also, there was another disclaimer. Todd.
Todd Todson?
Todd Todson.
This is Todd Todson,
ladies and gentlemen, Todd Todson. Actually, you know what? Let's just go down the line and introduce ourselves.
Hans Ekman. I'll be presenting on Monday at 10 o'clock on how prepping for the zombie apocalypse will help you survive your IT projects.
I'm Drew from the St. Louis Zombie Squad. For the people that thought we were going to be here this year, sorry, due to medical issues, family issues, Ferguson riots, yeah, we kind of had to pull out. Sorry. So yeah, I'm here. Woo!
You're gonna let a little riot bring you down.
Oh no, we're just staying at home having a good time.
And don't you? I'm Nicole. I'm a paramedic, a firefighter. I'm a courteous bitch and pretty much also extraordinary. Todd Todson?
Todd Todson.
Heroes Crew. Or Cruise Road.
As you know, I'm Todd Dotson. I'm an international man of leisure. I am also a urban survivalist specialist. I've been unemployed for 10 years and my suit is still fresh, and that is what I'm here to teach you tonight. You're welcome.
Pat Sajak. Never been to Dragon Con. Never seen a panel. I'm presenting a panel.
I'd buy a vowel for him.
What you do? Coincidentally, I'm their neighbors, and I turn water into beer. So after the
And
end
he
of the world, I
turns
can.
hair into dreams.
What she said.
I'm Max Gopp.
I'm not wearing a wig.
And for the record, that's not an axe.
That's not an axe. I'm an E-list superhero. I'm known for chopping bad guys' heads off. We're having superhero tryouts right here afterwards if you might want to be a sidekick. So check that out. I fought a lot. I have a lot of battle knowledge, survival skills, and I know how to boil water. All right.
Yeah!
And our fashionably late man to the party.
That's right.
Introduce yourself.
Biggest fan.
Who are you?
Biggest fan. That's it. Hi, my name's Robert. That's it. Yeah, I love me, and I am awesome. There you go. That pretty much sums it up. That's it. There you go. No, do we actually do for real intros and like tell our backgrounds or whatever?
Sort of.
Okay.
We've
Gotcha.
already done
He's
that.
like me, only also a cop.
Yes. That's it. I do
And-
tactical EMS.
Nowhere near as courteous as I am.
But
No.
not an axe
Not in that way.
Not an axe
Like
cop.
an axe cop. Like a cop.
Like an average normal police cop.
That's right.
Yes,
Not like a badass
axe
axe
with
cop.
an X, not two S's at the end, alright?
As it was explained to us, this is basically survivalism for dummies or survivalism 101. But survivalism has a lot of different aspects. You know, there's surviving the zombie apocalypse. There's also surviving your first date, which would also be where the International Gentleman of Leisure here comes in. So if any of you fellows out there need to know how to actually pick up a lady and keep her at said con without roofies, then this is going to be your man to talk to.
Todd Todson is your man.
Preferably without roofies.
That's right.
Can you pass the picture of Rohypnol, please?
There we go.
Let me pour those roofies for you.
Oh, yes.
And as far as I'm aware, that basically means that all bets are off. Straight Q&A format. We'll, our panel of cadre of experts will be more than happy to answer any question that you have. And we also have treasure for good questions. That's right.
We have gifts. We'll be giving gifts because our information may be less than a gift.
No gift for the lady in the front.
Another small disclaimer before we start is this may actually have great factual information in this panel, or maybe not. Take it as you will.
Probably not.
Yes, ma'am.
Maybe not.
That's easy. That's an easy question. Back of the toilet.
A lot of
Completely
people,
drinkable.
A lot of people would say that a rain catch system. You can't beat rain. You know, you get a proper filtration through sand or boiling or bleach, and you can make sure. But rainwater should be good to go. Catching it from your house into drums, however you want to do it, tarps, dig you a nice hole, filter it out.
Now, if you're in the city as well, you may go around and see there's some places that actually have like a spigot, but it's missing the handle on it. You can go to the wonderful world of the internet and find something called a Silcat key. For a couple dollars, it's just like a little bitty key that you can open up one of those faucets and get your stuff, water, whatever. But you may want to let it run for a little while because God knows how long that's been sitting in there. So
Buy a couple gallon bottles of bleach from Walmart for 69 cents. Put a few drops in, it'll purify the water. And they make straws that are filter straws that you can basically drink out of a puddle. So that'll filter out some of the rough particulates if you don't want chunky, clean water.
I would also recommend the tarp system because number one, it's rainwater. It's always good. Number two, you set it up correctly, you have a nice area to entertain while having clean water.
Gentlemen.
oh yeah.
Absolutely. That's it. Oh, and to get it kicked off. Treasure.
Oh, first treasure. First treasure.
Oh yeah. And what kind of treasure do we have?
Leftover treasure from our panel last year.
Business cards.
That's right.
Not anymore.
Nice little easy go bag. You basically use it for anything, but essentially it's a World War II gas mask set.
You can put lip gloss in it.
That's right. For all you ladies out there.
That brings me to my next point, ladies. We need to do whatever we can to survive, so sometimes...
That is also where I come in.
Sometimes you gotta find a guy like Todd Dodson and learn how to exploit your resources. I'm sorry, accentuate, not exploit.
Todd Dodson is her official representative. If anyone would like to speak to this young lady after the after the panel, just see him. He's a smooth operator.
If anyone else needs representation, you can also see me after the con.
Absolutely.
His suit is pretty neat.
The safest way to siphon gasoline.
Mickey Mouse.
That's it. Well, I'd say the safest way would just be dive right on in. No hesitation. Just, right there, strike it straight from the mouth. That's what I would do.
Use a dental dam.
Todd Totson would say the safest way to do it is to have someone else do it for you.
That's right.
What is your special lady's preferably?
A courteous lady.
Courteous lady. By the way, the safe word is Dumbledore.
Oh, yeah. We do have a safe word, Dumbledore, if anyone needs to know it. So let's toss it out there. It helps. But do they also, you see another one?
Oh, no.
Oh.
Saw a hand up.
Keep it a get-home bag in your car, just in case whatever, you have an ice storm. How do you keep, especially in the Georgia weather, with it getting over 100 degrees in your car on a routine basis, how do you keep here and there from going sideways, food, etc.?
Is it?
You should keep a good rotation on that.
Yeah.
Date everything, rotate it in and out, particularly after the summer.
I live in St. Louis, Missouri, and it's one of those things like now this year we've been absolutely spoiled with the weather.
And the riots.
Hey, I got my rotation. I bought it. Anyway, but yeah, so like this year we've pretty much had no summer. It's just this past week it finally broke 90 degrees, but I keep a good eye on the weather, on what it's going to do, and I've still been running my spring bob through everything, where I've got, one jacket that is really lightweight and, rainproof, waterproof, blah, blah, blah. And then I still have my food that I pack in every once in a while. I mean, it's a lunch bag. Seriously, how hard is that to take to and from your car?
But
everything else, like tools, I mean, it's not your multi-tool is not going to go bad in any way. If it does, then you bought the wrong damn tool.
Yes.
Yeah.
I said, and talking about the ice storms like we had here, I take it you're local. We were actually working during those ice storms, and we were literally fishing people out of cars that had been sitting there for over a day. Like one lady was insulin, so basically if you're talking about like a get home bag or anything like that, if you require special medications, you need to try and maybe take extra steps or precautions to make sure you have those medications on you. One woman was literally in her car for 24 hours, didn't eat, and basically just dialed 911 because she didn't know what to do, and we had to hike about a mile through the snow to get to her, and like literally bringing a 4x4 special rescue vehicle to do it. But that was a very, very, very busy day. So yeah, the ice apocalypse.
And, yeah, if you're on medications that are required for survival, bring them in and out of your car every day. Have a backpack. I have a backpack. It goes in the house. It comes out of the house. It's not that hard.
Power bars don't seem to melt, and they don't really taste any different.
If they do melt, yeah, like they'll.
You just peel it off the wrapper and cook it. It's the same. So for an emergency, that works well. And I don't think you can really overbake freeze-dried food if you were packing some of the camping meals.
Jerkies.
I'm a big fan of peanuts. I said peanuts. P-E-A.
I'm a big fan of peanuts too.
So Todd. No.
Yes. Todd, you have a customer.
Go for Todd.
I don't have an allergy.
Oh, and that's another thing. She said, she doesn't have an allergy. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to pick up.
Oh.
But if you have an allergy, make sure you have an EpiPen. And not only do you have an EpiPen, but that thing is up to date. I love whenever I work in a pharmacy back home, CVS. How many people have dealt with CVS here in Atlanta? Yeah, isn't that great? Just imagine that shit in an apocalyptic situation. Anybody seen World War Z? Yeah, imagine that. There you go, Ferguson. But yeah, so it's one of those things like I love it whenever somebody comes in and drops off a prescription and they're like, I need to get an EpiPen real quick. My son is going into shock. I'm like, you are in the wrong place. This is healthcare. I mean, it's going to take a good 20, 30 minutes for me just to type in that doctor's scribblature. Do you think I'm going to be able to be like, oh, here you go. Boom. What if I give you the wrong EpiPen? What if your son needs the EpiPen Junior? I don't know. Your doctor scribbled that stuff. It took him 7 years to learn how to scribble like that. How long do you think it took me to read it? So it's one of those things, don't let that thing lapse. Don't wait till the last effing minute whenever you need it.
And there's a difference between insurance paying and a doctor's prescription. So you can get a prescription from a doctor for emergency backup medicine. And even though insurance might not pay for it because it's out of cycle, you can still pay out of pocket and have something in another place, something in your go bag, that emergency backup. Yes, it's going to cost you more, but...
As long as it's not controlled substances and narcotics, you can get extra doses of those. The only thing that's really tightly controlled is if you're on pain meds, Percocet, Xanax, something like that. You can't duplicate that stuff. But your doctor will give you a second script for another EpiPen or another whatever the thing is that you're going to die if you don't take every day.
Exactly. And not only that, but I mean, if you wanted to, stagger that, say you have one EpiPen for home, one EpiPen for school, but they're not going to cover both EpiPens at the same time. God, I feel like I'm beating this up to that. But you can always go to websites. One of my favorites is goodrx.com. Write that down, goodrx.com. If your insurance company isn't covering something, you can plug it into that, and it will show you a network of pharmacies in your area and the prices that you will have to pay for your prescription.
Walgreens, $25 a year will cover prescriptions as if you had an insurance plan. You can have Cracker Express scripts and Walgreens, and they will figure out which one's cheaper every time. Or they can toast to each one.
I didn't know there was a crack script.
Yeah, and it gives you a 10% discount on Walgreens brand prescriptions.
Nice. I believe you had a question? Is that correct?
Any other medicines we should be holding on to, like antibiotics?
Honestly, yeah, that stuff is really tough to hoard because it goes bad.
Exactly.
And whenever it
Antibiotics
goes bad things can happen. The expired meds, for the most part, can be safe, but the problem is it really depends on the type of medication specifically. And what will happen is some medications will actually become more potent and other medications will become less potent. So you don't really know what you're getting. So you got an 800, like, you're used to taking said medication, it's 800 milligrams, and you take it, it's about 2 years out of date, then it could actually be like taking 1,600 milligrams and you could OD yourself very quickly. Or it might not be near as potent enough that you need, like it's an antibiotic, and then it's not going to quite do the job and can have other things. Not to mention,
Things
I
like
think,
insulin and stuff like that becomes remarkably less effective. Now, for the record, most of our medications expire about a year after the script is written. It's pretty normal. After that stuff expires, do you know what happens to it? We box it up and we send it to third world countries, where it gets used for about a year or two more, depending on what type of medicine it is. So, just because that med is expired doesn't necessarily mean you're going to die if you use it. But once it gets to a certain point, then yeah, you do start having some issues with changes in potency and stuff like that.
This is where Todd Todson would recommend distilling your own liquor and keeping beer on hand.
So what
It is the best medicine.
What meds are in your go bags? What are the must-have drugs in your go bag?
Evan Williams.
Ibuprofen.
actually,
Cocaine.
You have ibuprofen,
no,
And
like,
all painkiller.
yeah, no, I'm a little bit more medically savvy, so I actually keep testosterone propionate, and like I said, what's the other one? Shoot, I forgot.
And anti-diarrheal.
Yeah,
Imodium.
I was
Yes.
gonna say, okay, not only Imodium, but I keep Imodium, I keep Benadryl,
Yes.
because sometimes you just gotta sleep at cons. Wait, never mind. But yeah, antihistamines, I love that's one of my big things, and migraine meds. God, I hate headaches.
Yeah, really, like you said, storing antibiotics, you don't know when, the SHTF thing is going to happen. So there's no way to know, like, what antibiotics to have. And just antibiotic doesn't mean it's going to fix whatever's wrong with you. Just because... I was trying to do it in my brain.
It's the fan.
Yes, it was...
All right, man with the red
just
shirt
because
there.
you have something
Go
wrong
for
with you and you have an antibiotic doesn't mean that antibiotic is the recommended antibiotic for that thing that is wrong with you. So just because you've got a script for amoxicillin, it doesn't mean it's going to fix your problem. You might need Bactrim for that. So, just a lay person having a crap load of antibiotics sitting around may not be the best idea. And you need to know how long to take them for, what strength to take them, how many days. Like a couple of antibiotic doses is actually worse for you than taking an entire series.
Amoxicillin is not going to replace your Valtrex prescription.
You're still going to have outbreaks.
And a lot of people worry about the food. Food isn't your problem, it's dehydration. So you're either not taking enough water in, or if you have diarrhea, you're going to lose most of your water. So that's why an anti-diarrheal is...
I mean, just nobody likes to poop in the apocalypse.
That's true too, because who's packing toilet paper?
I mean, really, if you're running for your life, do you want to stop the poop?
like,
And shiwis. We really should all get one.
Who knows what a shiwi is? No. Okay, there's like one guy. One guy raised his hand. I applaud you, man. Good job.
It's a funnel for us to pee in.
Where's the antibiotic question guy?
in the corner, right there.
You get something.
Yeah, that's
Where's
right.
the guy that knew what the shiwi was?
All right, go
Yeah, the guy with the shiwi gets the president.
All right, we got this guy going to ask questions.
All right, we got a question.
A group of rioters, underdogs, injured at home, you have firearms, what would you suggest doing?
Depends on how much ammunition you had and how.
Why are you looking at me for this answer?
No, I mean, like, that. Listen, I can genuinely tell you, it would depend on how much ammunition you have and how well you're trained and how much pre-planning you've actually done. And the reality is, you can have as many guns as you want. I love one guy with 900 guns. He can only squeeze the trigger one finger at a time. So eventually, you will get overwhelmed with force. So
One side of the building.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So really, if you're prepping for something of that nature, you're going to have to involve other people, and you're going to have a team or network and a home base, and then you set up. I said easily. I mean, like that's
So
always
work on your social skills.
Yeah. Yep.
Or you could always join a group called Zombie Squad at www.zombiehunters.org.
You can practice socializing there. I practiced.
Was that, was,
We have a question, blonde hair, black shirt.
There you go.
Back to the antibiotics, medications thing. If you
you're putting together a go bag, what would you recommend for a general ingested antibiotic or a general topical antibiotic?
Topically, I'd just go with the old school triple antibiotic.
antibiotic.
Yeah, that stuff's awesome.
For it.
Yeah.
Max, Walmart, 997.
Yeah, and that stuff you can keep rotated. I'm not gonna.
$4.99.
I'm not gonna recommend just
And
having.
never forget, you might need to have some super glue also. Just go and spray in there, glue it up. That shit's awesome.
Absolutely.
If you also have rubbing alcohol, you can strain that through bread and drink it.
Remember this disclaimer about factual information, please. Keep that.
Some of the stuff we say might be not true.
So don't try all of this at home.
So I nominate one of two of y'all as the official question selector. That way we're all not pointing.
All right,
How's
all
that?
right. Okay, so green shirt aisle, right here. Ty, you? Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
There you
The one that's looking behind you.
The Boy Scout Handbook.
You mean a guide that you can read? You mean a guide you can read while a disaster is happening to know what to do while a disaster is happening? No. Too late.
Pat Sajak was an Eagle Scout.
You're talking about reference material, like informational reference material.
To go to find out that information.
I can't think of any other website that comes to mind. What is? Oh yeah, it's www.zombiehunters.org/Ferguson. Never mind.
That would be a shameless plug.
There are days and days and days of forums that you can read on there that recommend amazing books and
Info.
resources.
If you want to, you can actually hop on there and see if there's a Zombie Squad chapter in your area. If you go to meetings, you can find out, what they're doing. In St. Louis, we do hikes, we do mock disasters, bug outs, all sorts of stuff to not only see what to do in a disaster, but to actually train if one should actually happen.
If you attend the session I'm giving on Monday, I've got at the end a prep guide, but you can also grab my business card. The presentation is downloadable, and I have a downloadable that has a whole list of web references, books, movies, and a 3-day and a 3-week starter survival guide, and the references of where to pick up your packs. So I assembled that list for people.
One of the fun things I like to do is basically have, hi children, an OS moment. Kind of an an shoot moment.
Gosh,
there we
darn
are.
moment.
My recent one was I was heading to this con. Oh wait, that was yesterday. It was about an hour before, and I was like, "Hey man, I should probably pack my bag, shouldn't I?" So it's kind of like, "Oh man, what do I need to grab really fast to get out of town?" And I love playing that game because every time I do it, I always say, "Dude, I forgot batteries. Man, I left the hard drive at home." Something like that. It kind of, it's kind of a crappy way of learning, but it kind of keeps you sharp whenever you write stuff down afterwards that you forgot that you might need. And if anybody wants to buy a couple extra pair of underwear, that would be, wait, never mind.
I got t-shirts for like 3.5 weeks, so.
Yes, guy, blue, white striped shirt, that hat thingy.
The guy with the arms and the head.
That is definitely a hat.
If you guys ever had to plan like an EM pulse event or something, what would be like a good idea to kind of harden anything to activate? Because that's like kind of fear, like what would happen if...
Have a wind-up radio.
Wind up radio and learn how to pedal on a bike.
Yeah.
Hit the gym, take a spin class.
Yeah.
Cardio, yes. Number one rule.
Wait, cardio. No, bro.
Oh, do you even lift, bro?
No, we lift, bro. We don't do
lift?
cardio. We lift.
Do you do body weight?
Lift, bro?
Yeah, that's called yoga. Do you
Leg
lift?
day, let me tell you.
Yes.
That's right. There's no such thing as cardio. We call that losing gains.
One of my favorite things actually happened today. I laughed because we were on the MARTA and we were coming in.
It's
to,
MARTA.
Sorry.
He's from out of town. He calls it the Margo.
So
We apologize.
my favorite. It was beautiful. If you find areas that have escalators and there's like stairs in between, the stairs are generally vacant, but you'll see lines of people waiting to get onto that escalator. I'll piss on that. I ain't got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. But no, you just take the stairs because that's what it's going to be like whenever the lights go out.
And honestly, you know, the zombies probably aren't going to rise up and take over the world. However, if there is some sort of a post-apocalyptic event, you might have to run periodically from bad people. So, I don't know, maybe cardio? Maybe wield a baseball bat?
You gotta live, bro.
I mean, I lived.
So with the
right.
EMP, there's an excellent book written 1 second after.
Oh, such a good book.
So
Read it.
the
Absolutely
gist of
fantastic.
it is give up. There's almost no point.
It's not a feel-good
against
book.
an EMP
Yeah.
because anything plugged in, anything sitting out, if it's a strong EMP, is going to be wiped out. So your wind-up radio, unless it is in a metal box and not grounded to something else, is going to get fried. And if it's strong enough, it might even get fried through there. So if you want to build a safe room that has metal wire and nothing penetrating that cage, for the cage principle, you might be okay. But in that case, it's not going to matter. Everything will be gone. And so whatever you have, there's not going to be much to connect to.
Improvise, adapt, and overcome. Honestly, if some shit happens, we're just going to have to, like, wing it and deal with it. And dumb people are going to die really quick. And then smart people are going to die really quick. And then more people are going to die.
Dumb people will riot.
Yeah, Ex-Cop always recommends you just get with the primitive survival skills. You get the candles, not the flashlights. You know, axes, all that shit. That's dumb. All right.
It's good. It's good.
Red shirt up front.
What kind of skill sets would you want in your ideal survival team?
Being amazing.
Well, honestly,
This panel right here,
Yeah.
and now granted, he's from out of town, but if I happen to be in St. Louis when the shit hits the fan, okay, I'll look you up, but I'm not.
But the shit's hitting the fan in St. Louis. So
I know,
don't go.
so welcome to Georgia.
Actually,
It's a good thing you're here.
fun
Good job.
fact, I got a text message from her and she's like, hey, I'm in St. Louis. I'm like, yeah.
I'm lost in St. Louis, ha ha ha.
Get out,
And he's like,
it's
"Get the hell
rioting
out."
right now. And she's like, no, really, I'm in St. Louis. I'm like, yeah, really, riots are happening right now. And it was the day that it actually happened.
I had been camping in the woods for a couple of weeks, and I sort of missed the fact that the world was ending in St. Louis. And I was like, hey, ha ha ha, I'm driving through St. Louis and I'm lost. Wow, can you help me? And he's like, get out now. Oh my God, don't stop. And I'm like, what the shit? I mean, like, I thought we were friends, dude. Wow. I guess I'll just get the hell out of your city. Apparently there's riots and shit. The one day I come through St. Louis, there's a friggin' riot. One day I ride through St. Louis. My bad.
but I'm going to be more personally biased towards emergency services. Firefighter, paramedic.
Really, you're going to want to just be with us.
Gentleman of leisure makes alcohol at home. There you go. That's pretty much the most powerful thing you
This
can
is
have.
really, yeah, this is our team right here.
Firefighter
And these
team.
two bitches
Yep.
up front just because they so pretty. These
Yeah.
three bitches right here are so pretty
You can
because they just,
You can substitute a veterinarian. Not much different.
Hey.
Now, I will have to say, the one thing that you nailed in your question was team.
Yes.
Make sure you have a good team. Don't have, like, every team has that one douchebag.
Yeah,
Why is
just
everyone
killing
looking at me all of a sudden? Why is everyone got to look at me all of a sudden? Anyway, I know. But everybody, I mean, if you build your team accordingly and everyone has, like, special things, learn what their special things are. I mean, sometimes it's going to be really hard. If you don't know how to do, EMT stuff, it's not like you're going to pick it up like that. But through a couple, mock disasters and whatnot, you can pick up a lot of things.
One of the other things I would actually just recommend would be called stress inoculation. That's it. Get yourself out of your comfort zone, push yourself to your limits, and find out exactly where you break. That way you know in an emergency situation. Stress inoculation is awesome. That's what we train for.
In all seriousness, being at this panel is probably the best thing you can do for survival, because whenever it hits the fan, if you have to ask, what do I need to do, you're going to be one of the people that die first.
Hey.
So actually, being here is the place to be. Prepare now, and that way you don't have to worry about it. Todd Dotson.
In the back.
Oh, I will get him next. I'll get Red Hat by the pole. All right.
What's the best way to start a fire without a lighter?
The sun.
I'm a big fan.
Use your glasses.
Steel wool, a 9-volt battery, and dryer lint, bitches.
Okay, no more throwing things. No more.
Okay.
Fan of white here. I'll do it. Jeez Louise.
Now, I'm a big fan of you take flint, steel, and one of the other things that most people have in their house, dryer lint. I mean, seriously, my uncle taught me that whenever I first got into this type of stuff. He's like, oh yeah, you just get a piece of dryer lint and hit it. I was like, that's not gonna work. In less than 3 seconds, we had a fire. I was like, oh, wow, all right. So,
Flammable.
yeah.
As a fireman, FYI, your dryer will catch fire if you don't clean that shit up.
So, clean your dryer.
PSA.
It really gets you clean it.
PSA. Clean your lint trap.
If you want it to go even hotter, get some Vaseline as well. Wait, never mind. Oh, Todd.
That's it.
I agree.
Most of the new flint and steel also have magnesium, where you can shave and get magnesium, and it flares up pretty hot too. There are a couple of bucks.
Ever seen a magnesium fire?
Yes.
Try to put a magnesium fire out.
That's better than radial tires.
Stand back and drink.
It's pretty.
All right, so X-Men. Who is X-Men? X-Men. There you are. Yes.
Okay, so I learned by doing reading books. And, I can pull information in, but it's harder to visualize it by reading it. I would very much like to expand my knowledge on everything, navigation, electronics, things like that in a useful area. Where could I go other than getting a degree in, IT or plumbing mechanic or communication?
I believe there's an amazing website, www.zombiehunters.org, where a whole world of geeks who are fascinated with this stuff are always posting that information. You can
And videos.
Yes. You can also go to any of your community colleges, tech schools. They will have evening programs. They will have other, you can job shadow, whatever you want to pick up is probably a good way. And actually, Zombie Squad does mock bug outs, mock camp outs, where you find out really fast that your $450 pack kills your back.
Yeah. Oh wait, I was also going to say the CERT team. If you look in your area, yes, exactly. The civilian emergency response team. Most fire departments or local communities, especially after 9/11, will actually do CERT training, and
it's completely. We do the CERT training for free. It's really interesting.
It's a
basic first aid and
CPR, first aid, search and rescue techniques,
extrication.
and actually, I think it's
you get a free backpack too.
The department
Loaded with gear.
Is it
And a helmet.
There's a FEMA. If you go to the FEMA website, there's links on there for there's actual civilian emergency response teams through the federal government that literally play to people's strengths, and they're basically EMS strike teams, and they're doctors, they're paramedics, they're nurses. Some of them are actually IT people and stuff, and they're literally about 20 to 25 strong, and they'll be headed up, and basically they're dropped into effed up areas like Katrina, and they basically go through and set up shop. Like, they show up and they're fully self-contained. So they bring an IT person with them, they bring a nurse, they bring a paramedic, they bring a doctor, they bring a mechanic, and they just fix stuff in position. So you can actually get involved that way and find a way to play your strengths. That's it. CERT Training Zombie Squad and FEMA website. Check it out.
Yes, CERT is CERT.
Yes.
Just look it up wherever your local municipality is.
What are some of your suggestions for a moderate to low priced item to add to survival kit that you wouldn't think would be obvious or would the average household might have?
Evan Williams.
Seasonings.
Did we mention that again?
Seasonings. Yes. Salt, pepper. I mean,
Lots and lots of Band-Aids. And the blister Band-Aids too.
Yeah.
the new skin.
New skin, moleskin,
Liquid bandage.
all the things that are going to annoy you on a day. A disaster magnifies everything. So think about everything that annoys you during the week, keep a list, and then put stuff in your backpack so that list disappears. and you'll cover
That would be a lot of
90%
people I
of your
know,
domains.
though. So I want relief on this.
I mean, God, I hate to pimp for gear, but I'm a huge geek when it comes to Leatherman. And I can't tell you how many times I've already used this thing this weekend.
I
yeah.
have an amazing Leatherman that I've had for over 10 years. I use it on my job virtually daily. They're not terribly cheap, but like I said, I've had mine for 10 years. The only limitation of my Leatherman is that I lose it periodically. But if you can keep track of it, that thing will last you forever. Mine has like screwdrivers and knives and scissors and friggin' and it does my laundry and tells me what lipstick to wear. It's amazing. And it goes on my belt.
I mean, she points out that you can buy them. Like, I've got one that I think has 24 different tools on it. Yeah. I kid you not, the one that I carry the most has 7. But I mean, I've adapted enough to where I can use these 7 tools on, almost anything I needed to use. I mean, it even has like this little slot. They don't even have like anything you could use this for. I use it to pry things open and whatnot. Actually, it has a beer bottle opener right there. But yeah, it works.
But no, I've had mine for like 10 or 12 years, and I use it ridiculously. It's the tool I use the most in my job.
But don't take it to the airport.
When you're starting to build your kit, it's easy to say, hey, I can just buy a lot of cheap stuff. If that's all you can afford to put into a kit, put into your prep, then anything is better than nothing. Even the little multi-tool that's $2 at the grocery store. But it will break very quickly. Find out those must-have, like the Leatherman, and buy the best you can. Eventually, step up and buy a really good backpack, a really good flashlight, a really good multi-tool and knife.
And any
for your backpack too.
Yeah.
Any shit that you have that can do more than one job is good shit. So if a multi-tool, kind of in the name, if it can do more than one thing for you, then it's less shit that you have to have in your bag.
Beer bottle opener, screwdriver, saw, makeshift blade, 80 cents, Amazon.
Did I lose track of the gift giving?
Feminine products, Stella's first aid.
What's that?
Feminine products, Stella's first aid.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's true.
Tampons for...
Nothing stops bleeding.
And you know what?
And they're almost
Honestly,
as good as Dr.
regardless,
Scholl's.
not to be gross, but regardless of the first aid aspect, if the shit hits the fan, infection is a huge issue, and keeping ourselves clean, ladies, is a huge issue. So, yeah, stockpile pads and tampons. You're welcome.
I agree. Thank you. You're doing a public service there. Keep them clean.
All right, black shirt right here. Yes. I say personal, discretion, really. I mean, my girl's in back, and she will... the night that they released the officer's name, St. Louis went insane. And within, I'd say, about 10 minutes from, they said, Officer Darren Brown was the guy that, got named by Anonymous. Within 10 minutes, our electricity went out for 4 blocks. It was just... coincidence, boom, power goes out. She's like, we need to go. I'm like, why? We've got everything we need to live right here, and nothing has happened within like a 5-mile radius of us. We're good until something goes crazy around us.
Yeah, there's my favorite story for preppers is the guy out in that basically trained himself as a firefighter out in California, I believe, and literally he stored water on his property. He bought his own turnout gear. He actually trained with how to use it and had his own fire hose. And whenever his community was being faced with like a horrible wildfire, he stayed and not only saved his house, but 2 of his neighbors' houses as well. And he's the only person. The rest of the neighborhood burned down completely. But he was trained and prepared, and he was ready for that particular emergency. So really, you just have to have an honest question with yourself: am I ready to deal with what's coming? And if the answer is no, then run.
And the other thing I was talking about, we've kind of beat the whole zombie squad thing to death. But again, the www.zombiehunters.org website. Okay.
I'm sorry.
So, through there I've become really close with a lot of people, and we became really good friends and pretty much a family. On Reddit, some of the guys got together and they were listening to nothing but police scanners, and they were constantly reporting updates, live feed of exactly what was going on, when it was going on, non-biased opinions, and they put a map together of where everything was happening, pinpointing everything, color coding, what situations, what crimes, what was going on, so you could follow up to the exact minute that everything was happening, and if it was happening around you or in your neighborhood. And that was another valuable way of figuring, all right, do I need to leave yet? Do I need to leave? Can I stay the night? Stuff like that. The night the electric went out, I'm like, uh-oh. I don't hear anything, so, well, let's just see where this goes.
When you're bugging in, you know what you're facing for the most part. Are you going to a place that you know is going to be safer? And can you get there? Because if you're leaving to another town and that town is having the same or worse problem, you're now moving into an area that you have no control, no knowledge, no resources, no friends, nothing. Why is that going to be better? So you really got to know where you're going and can you actually make it safely. If you can't make it safely, there's no point.
All right, I believe Cabby, right on the other side of the pole here. There you go.
I'm not giving you a present.
Maybe, let's just say that you got your group together and it's time to release some testosterone, and you can't find a lamb, you can't find a pig for its instance. What would be a good birth control, because pull-out methods don't work in that?
If your front door is blocked, use the rear door.
Thank you. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Looking for love in all the wrong places, looking for love.
That's a matter of opinion.
You get a sticker and a big pack.
All right, nice lady right there. Go for it. With the blue lanyard. All right, yeah, you ma'am. What's your question?
X-Cop.
Hold on.
Bring X-Cop.
Yeah.
Nerves of steel.
See that was
My favorite
Common
weapon,
sense.
hands down,
gravity
is
is not your friend.
these two hands right here. Hands deadly. That's right. After that would be my Glock 40.
If you're Bruce Campbell, then a boomstick and a chainsaw.
Yeah. If you're not prepared, you want to have a tool to take. So, go raid the nursing home, get all the meatloaf, all the canned goods. You want to have, I would take a firearm. That's important.
They were joking about the axe, but a fireman's axe is a weapon.
It's going to be dull as shit. Let's be perfectly honest. Okay? I have not sharpened the axe on my truck in 2 years.
The one that you can use to pry open doors.
That's a Halligan.
Sorry.
A Halligan is a very useful axe. It's going to be dull as a damn butter knife. I'll probably sharpen it eventually.
But that will get you into locked places, get you into doors.
I got a lot to do.
Weapon,
I don't have time to sharpen axes.
And forget the swords. If you're going to use a blade, get a machete. It's easy.
I got a baseball bat. I got one at a yard sale for $1. I carry it in my car all the time. There's a lot of shit you can do with a wooden baseball bat. A lot. If you're not going to have a gun, or guns need to be reloaded. Baseball bats don't. An ass baton doesn't need to be reloaded. It's easy to carry. It's lightweight.
A what?
Asp. Extendable baton.
Are you trying to say something about the way I talk?
Well, I mean, I'm thinking, they were talking about looking for love in all the wrong places.
I carry an ass baton with me everywhere.
No fine girls, just ugly. Damn it.
Yes. All right, friend of X-Cop, go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
Going back to a question ago, if you have to hunker down, what are some things that you recommend to have on outsourcing procedures that would take to make your home safe when you don't know that outside your home is safe?
I said, for me, it's all about team building. Like, in all seriousness, if you've got peers or people around you, then you have to set up your own network. Because, let's face it, you have to ask yourself about sleeping in shifts. Who's going to have watch? Who's actually going to be watching? How many avenues of entry and egress do you have on your property? So basically, how many different directions do you have to observe? So for me, it's really just about how many people do I have access to.
We all kind of live in like a commune area.
If you live in a two-story, I'd recommend using your axe to chop the stairs down and have a throw-down ladder and just live upstairs. You know.
And then you can chop it.
There you go.
Right.
Not with your axe, you can't chop.
No, you can't chop shit. I actually chopped a tree down with my axe recently. It was horrible.
All right, white shirt?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, I'll get into my
You're in an emergency, and you have to leave your home. Other than St. Louis, where's the worst place to go, or best place to go?
Clayton County.
I was gonna say a con. No, I'm just kidding.
I live near
A place that you're absolutely unfamiliar with is probably one of the worst places you can go. I'm a big fan of, knowing where you're going to go. I've got like multiple spots in my area. My favorite is my mom has like 40 acres, 60 miles south of St. Louis. If things go stupid, I can always go there, hide out there, stuff like that. And I mean, I've camped out enough. My first event with Zombie Squad was, they said, hey, we're going camping. I was like, are you shitting me? It's January and it's negative 10 below. There's no way you're going to get my ass out of my nice, warm, cozy house. And of course, I hiked 3 miles through 6 inches of snow to camp out with a bunch of strangers I'd never met before.
That sounds amazing.
It sucked on so many levels. And the fun thing was and another thing that I learned that trip was I was absolutely inexperienced, but the people I was with taught me how to make it through that weekend. And there were other people there that were just cocky as shit. And they're like, oh, dude, nah, I've done this before. I can survive anything. Here, I'm going to take this, knockoff bottle of Jaeger to this mountainside and camp out. No worries. It's going to keep me warm. And let me say that dumbass got lost for 4.5 hours. We had to find him in the dark. And the only way we could find him was he had a reflective button on his jacket. And I'm talking jacket. That was it.
Alcohol doesn't keep you warm, but it does keep you so courteous.
And if you want us to sample your alcohol to see how the quality is, by all means, we're all here.
That's right.
Red Hat back.
You already got a present.
She's the one who mentioned that because that was a problem. Quick question for you. Now, obviously, with what's happening, is helping and useless. You're on a team. Other than for your team, your CB radio is something you want to have.
Just talking.
What other communication method do you use if those are the meetings are down?
Marco. No, I'm just kidding.
That's it. Yeah, I was going to say, I think it depends on the level of prep you're going for. I mean, if you're going for like a destabilization of services for 2 weeks max, then, maybe like a walkie-talkie or something like that, and then you've got a pre-set up network of people there. But if you're talking about like a true destabilization of services for like in excess of 2 weeks, then you've truly got like a Katrina level event. You're probably not going to have much information or access to electricity to begin with. It really just depends. It just depends on the specific situation. That's why it's so funny. Like, to me, it's always been, if you're prepping, you have to prep for a very specific thing, or you can prep for a very broad thing. And once you realize that it's broad, then you kind of relax it.
Broad.
That's it.
You also think about it in reverse, because normally we're saying, how am I going to stay in contact?
Yep.
The other way is make sure everyone you care about has a way of posting information or a source for information. So you may only be, if you're in a disaster area, rather than you trying to call 100 people, if everybody knows to call your mom and you're just going to update your mom on your status, then people know. It's like having a place to meet. If you can't meet at home and there's a disaster, meet at the school, meet at the firehouse. You should know and have that work out ahead of time so that you don't have to try and set up that redundant communication.
And what I understand, I think a dedicated email address was actually used a lot whenever 9/11 happened and all the cell phone networks went down. People realized they could still reach out via the interwebs, and they basically had dedicated email, and they were just sending email blasts to update what was going on and distribute information that way. So you could pre-set up a dedicated email address just for in case of an emergency. Basically, it's kind of like a drop spot for information. Hey, Mom, I'm going to Alaska. Look for me there. There you go.
Hey,
I know we had an outage where we actually used text messaging. We had a list of all the phone numbers that were sent mass text where they got things on work, things work.
My best friend has all my parents' information, and she's my central contact for everything because I live 1,000 million miles away from anybody I'm related to. So, like, that girl disseminates all the information for me if I was to die on duty or get my arms ripped off or something.
If you need a place to stay outside of Atlanta, I got a spot in St. Louis. If you, never mind. Glasses right here.
Yeah. So let's say you're an Eagle Scout. Yeah, I got all the survival.
Eagle Scout? Who's the Eagle Scout?
Oh yeah, it's me.
If you're
Don't
in
mess up
an
my hair.
extended period of difficulty, we'll say, I imagine that other people are probably much more frightened in their environment. So how do you go about dealing with that?
Honestly, I was going to say, like, I think psychologically it's been proven time after time that most of the time people band together initially at first. It just depends on how long the crisis continues. You know, after 2 weeks, or 3 weeks, things can start getting ugly. But initially, most people come together to try and help, because for the most part, people are good. I said people are good. It's that 10% of assholes that screw up society. Once you identify them, don't be like the movies. Instantly kill them and don't apologize. And then be like, yeah. I mean, like, basically, I'm not joking. Like, Walking Dead, season 1, Daryl's brother shows up. Oh, hi. First time he drops the N-word, bam, you get shot in the head. Situation handled. No more crisis,
And then have a dictatorship.
A dictatorship.
Dictatorship.
Chop their heads off.
Presentation on Monday, I'll actually go through the stages of the disaster, and it's amazing how it mirrors how all of our IT projects fall apart. And so you get to practice every day if you're in IT. 10 o'clock on Monday, this room.
Nice. When was that again?
10 o'clock Monday, zombiehunters.org.
All right,
So get this.
Sit it down now.
what's that?
You mentioned preparing for specific scenarios. What are like the top 3 things you guys think personally are most likely to happen?
To me, I mean, it kind of depends upon your area. Like in St. Louis, I'm not really, call me a jerk, but I'm not really preparing for a hurricane. I haven't seen one happen ever. It is St. Louis. We do have absolute bullshit weather all the time. Now, I do prepare for fires, tornadoes, and since Irving Browning in 1990 predicted pretty much leveling earthquake in St. Louis, yeah, I still stay up to date on that stuff.
For me, it's all nature-specific stuff, like whatever the location is. Here, basically, ice storms, naturally. Tornadoes.
Tornadoes.
Tornadoes. And I said floods if you're in the right area. And other than that, STDs. I'm always preparing for that.
And now don't stockpile antibiotics, but Veltrex is an entirely different situation.
And you will not be running on the beaches or kayaking while you're on your treks or anything.
You can ride a pony.
That's what I'm saying. Those commercials are amazing.
Anyway, but no, and another thing is, I mean, a lot of times, I'm going to throw it out there, I'm the guy that I start preparing for ice storms right now. Everyone's like, oh, why? I'm like, because that shit's on clearance. Nobody's looking around the internet saying, well, I guess maybe since we're starting to get closer to fall, people are rolling out a fall line. But as soon as, the, oh my God, it's Satan's anus hot here in summer, nobody's selling a coat. Satan's anus hot in St. Louis. It does. I mean, the devil calls right on my ass. Anyway, but nobody's going out looking for a, negative 20 degree sleeping bag or, a nice heavy coat in the middle of summer. Kind of like nobody's looking for a thin jacket during wintertime. It's just one of those things. If you stay prepared a couple steps ahead of the situation, the better off you are. The more you know.
Like, prepping can be really, really overwhelming. So, like, if you're starting from scratch, go with prioritize. Get 3 days worth of food. That's kind of like a big undertaking. Get 3 days worth of food for everybody in your house. Once you do that, then work on to the next step. 3 days worth of water. People are like, oh my God, I gotta go and spend $1,000 on this bag and bunk out and this and that. And just get like enough freaking food for you to not die if you're stuck in your house for 3 days, and then take the next step after that.
We have a couple minutes left, but I kind of want to hit that real quick. How many people have gone to the food court today? Anybody? All right, here's a fun little exercise for everyone. Take your receipt from your food court, or check out however much you spent, and then go to Save-A-Lot or Walmart or something like that and try and find out what kind of food you can get for that one meal that cost you $10 effing at Chick-fil-A. I mean, I got a sandwich and fries, $10. I could get 10 cans of beefaroni and live on that. That's 10 meals if
40
need be.
days of ramen noodles.
Boom.
Every time your grocery store has a BOGO sale, buy 2 of the shit. I have in my, damn it, God. In my guest spare whatever dog room, I have a huge, I have dogs. Shh, it's okay. Huge
She's not a
shelf-
crazy cat lady, believe it or not.
The crazy dog lady.
Crazy dog lady.
If you do the warehouse club, massive packs of tuna, 1 can of tuna is awesome protein, awesome energy for the day.
Exactly.
1 can per day. And that's why you need seasonings, because plain, it gets old real fast.
Buy 1 can, take the other can and put it on your shelf and date it so you know when it got there, so you know when it's 37 friggin' years old and you want to put it into the rotation of your regular food and then replace it with something from stock.
Ladies
that's what I did.
need to get pregnant, get on that government wick cheese, get that dry powdered milk and beans and tuna fish. That's what I got because my wife's been pregnant 3 times.
Oh, yeah. It has very virulent.
X-Cop
X-Cop
gets it.
Oh, damn.
Like what he was saying, you know, get the big can of tuna. Me, I hate tuna, which is another thing. If you don't like the food, do not stockpile it. Try it before you start stockpiling it. If you got raw oysters and they taste ungodly, well, you're kind of screwed now that you got like a 1 month supply of it. All right, pink shirt.
Confidence, it's good for your
Levels of respect. It's great exercise. It keeps you active.
Yeah, honestly, what self-defense does predominantly is it builds a mindset that's important. There you go.
Disregard that.
All right, last question, Mr. Killing Time Gray Shirt.
So, say the power does go out for 4 hours as it did in your house, but how would you, if you needed to use electronic devices, get power? Generator, wind power, solar, batteries, how would you do it?
In the midst of a riot, I didn't turn on a goddamn thing because I did not want to make noise. I walked around the house with a flashlight, which is another thing. You can go to like different websites like edc.org, stuff like that, everyday carry. I carry this little booger with me. Not only that, but I got 2 more sit in my bag. 1 is none, 2 is 1, so on, so on. But yeah, I basically walked around the house with this bright thing on the dimmest setting doing this. I was like, all right, I got to get out of my bedroom. How do I see? So yeah, I mean, if things are going like full-on Ragnarok in your neighborhood, don't do shit that gets you noticed. Be quiet.
Otherwise, if the power goes out for 4 hours, light some candles, play Monopoly.
Exactly.
One of the best
Monopoly
devices
games. I don't know about your house, but mine they go a long time.
One of the coolest things, because we talked about, if you get something that does more than one function, it kicks ass. Costco, 80 bucks, has a emergency jump starter. You plug it in and keep it charged. It also is an air pump for your tires. And it will do high pressure tires as well. It has a AC outlet and a USB outlet. So for 2 days you could charge your cell phone and your iPod so you don't go bored, anything like that. And it does, I mean, it takes care of what you need in your house.
All right, I think that's all the time we... Oh, wait, yeah, go ahead.
Let me ask you this. If your power is out for an extended period of time, and you have a generator, your power's on, you're the only house in the neighborhood with your power on, are you prepared for that situation whenever your neighbors, friends, people you don't know come calling? That's another thing to think about.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a generator... If you have a generator and that... How many people have a generator? Anybody? How loud is that mofo? Hi, kids.
Also, people, please don't die of carbon monoxide poisoning. You think this would be simple, but I'm a fireman and people are dumb as dog turds.
And don't fry your turkey on the deck.
She's not biased.
She's a fireman.
That's right. Yeah, don't
I'm a fireman. I can deal with the terminology. I'm wearing a dress. It's totally cool.
Yeah, that is true. Like I said, don't run your generator in your house. We've actually run on
Yeah,
multiple
but seriously,
calls like that.
carbon monoxide poisoning, you will friggin' die, okay? People are like, I got got a generator, bitches. My cell phone's charged, and you're dead. And it's not.
And then when your neighbors find you, they have a generator all of a sudden.
The number one thing you can do is calm down, think things through, use common sense, be informed. All the shit that you buy cannot replace just being a little bit smart. Don't do stupid shit, and you'll be okay, or you'll die. Whatever, it'll all come out in the wash. But use common sense. I mean, you don't use a friggin' grill in your garage to heat your house, because that's really bad. Don't use your stove to heat your house. Don't run a friggin' generator in the middle of your living room, because you will die horribly.
Best way to black out.
Actually, I heard it's not a bad way to die. Whatever.
And anyone working night shift knows the trick. Wet a window, put aluminum foil over it. The aluminum foil sticks to the glass and blocks out all the light.
And then the aliens can't get you either.
That's true.
Or the government.
Yeah, the government can't
Cannabis Gold.
Only if you want
Dotson
veggies.
recommends body heat.
All right, everybody. I thank you all so very much for coming out tonight.